and welcome to another episode of That Crypto Hustle podcast. Super excited to do a live today with Sean Donato, who is the founder of OPT Token. Thanks, Sean, for coming on the show again. Super excited to see you.
My favorite.
What's up? What's going on? So we're experiencing quite a nice day. Lots of green in the crypto front. Some are calling it, is it the start of the Bitcoin bull run? I guess time will tell. But today specifically, we wanted to talk about, so there was an interview that came out, I think yesterday, where essentially Arthur Hayes was on the podcast Unchained, and the Unchained podcast. You guys have to follow it if you're not. A pretty amazing podcast. And essentially, he just pretty much claimed the fact that Bitcoin is still an experiment. So if you don't know who Arthur Hayes is, essentially he's the CEO of BitMEX, which is a trading platform. So Sean, what's your overall opinion about his overall comment?
About who?
About Arthur, and his overall comment.
I think
we just lost Sean. Where are you, Sean? Skype. Let's try this again. Hey, we lost you.
We should probably say advanced. Skype's as normal as being Skype and awful.
Yeah.
So maybe some drops in the mix here, and we're just going to do our best to just jump right back on. Right? I mean,
yeah.
So
I was asking you about your overall opinion of his comment as far as Bitcoin being still an experiment. Why do you think he's so anti-Bitcoin?
Well, I don't know if he's anti-Bitcoin. I think he has an agenda. You're not going to be the CEO of a giant Bitcoin exchange if you're anti-Bitcoin. What exactly his motives are, I'm not sure, but I have an idea and a little conspiracy theory.
I want to hear it.
Okay. So, and give me 1 second here. I'm just making sure.
All right. So while I give you 1 second, I'm going to do a little shout out on Instagram. If you guys follow us, make sure to follow us on Instagram, That Crypto Hustle as well, to make sure everyone knows about the fact that we're live.
Let's see here. 1 second. So, any serious traders who have ever traded on BitMEX will be familiar with market spoofing and how common of a practice it is there.
So what is that specifically, market spoofing?
Glad you asked. Essentially, you're flinching at people, and what you're doing is you're using the order book as a weapon of fear. So the order book has, if you know what an order book is, it's basically the liquidity on the buy and sell side. Orders that are limit sell orders typically. Others can use, you can have different kinds of orders, but let's just talk about limit. So if I have, if the price of Bitcoin is at $4,000 and I place a giant sell wall, meaning a huge sell order at, let's say, 4,020, it should be visible on the order book. And what that can do is it can cause people on the buy side to kind of pause and say, hey, do I want to buy into that? What if they dump all of a sudden? What if they just say, they turn it to a market order and just sell all that? So it's nothing new to assets, equities, trading, whatever in general, but it's definitely probably more heavily used and practiced cryptocurrency, as there's no regulation.
Got it.
Yeah.
So why do you think he just, I mean, it seems like he's just not very positive about Bitcoin. I mean, so actually I want to read this quote because I think it's pretty funny. He's like completely contradicting himself, which is from this article I found actually on CNN.com, where he says, Apple has more cash on its balance sheet than the whole value of the industry that we're talking about. So talking about crypto, obviously. So it's insignificant in terms of where it is today. Could it become a bona fide asset class in the next 10 years? Maybe. The jury is out on whether or not Bitcoin is actually secure over the long run. It's had a decade, which is pretty good, but it's still an experiment. So the jury is out, but it's still looking like it could be the new way of raising capital and sending value around the world. So he's completely contradicting himself. Like, in one aspect, he's like saying that, oh, well, there's just not enough liquidity available, but yet this could be the future in the sense that we could be raising capital or, you know, sending money to one another using Bitcoin. So which one is it, dude?
Yeah, I really think that he's just, I don't think he's an idiot. He's obviously very smart, but he's just an ass. He's just an asshole. So, here's my little theory, okay? My theory is that why would you want to push the price down if your business depends on the well-being of an asset, okay? If you're a gold exchange, you know, you only do transactions in gold and silver, I don't think you're going to go out and bash gold, right? Gold's an experiment, this and that. Well, Bitcoin's an experiment. It is what it is. It's something that was just created and it is what it is. I mean, it's like saying like PayPal is an experiment or the dollar is an experiment. For that matter, the dollar is an experiment, you know? It's just that's not a fitting word. Bitcoin's already something that's used. Go tell that to people in Venezuela who are literally like escaping to Bitcoin from the crashing Bolivar, you know, like on a daily routine, and it's like saving them. You know, like I mean, go tell that to them. It's an experiment. You know what I mean? People beg to differ.
Well, and also there's like positive moves as well. Like this week there was a news about the Blockstream satellite.
Yeah. Let's get into that in a minute, because this is really important about Arthur Hayes. Okay, but here's the little conspiracy theory. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not. I think that he's trying to accumulate cheap. That's my idea. I think that Arthur Hayes wants to have a giant position in Bitcoin. You know, he's already achieved wealth. I think what he wants to be is some like Warren Buffett of Bitcoin. And I think the way to do that in his eyes is to push the price down and then potentially push it back up. It should be nice if he does the latter, but he may not. He may just wait for it to. It'll go up on its own either way, but the cheaper it is, the more they can accumulate. That's the only motive.
He's not the only one my conspiracy theory is that institutional funds are also trying to drive the price down so they can get in, since they didn't get an opportunity to do so last year as much.
Yeah, totally. You know, there's a reason that BitMEX isn't on TradingView. You know, I'm not the only one that thinks they're like suspicious and that they're suspect. And I'm not sure exactly why they're not on TradingView, but that's my theory on that. I mean, it's reasonable deduction. And yeah, so I mean, I don't know, you know, yeah, I mean, I don't think there's some grand conspiracy room, like there could be a room full of people, like, where it's like, yeah, obviously there's probably meetings of like very wealthy people who have high interests who normally meet already, and it's probably come up, Bitcoin and stuff, but I don't think that there's some like, you know, grand like Illuminati conspiracy to push the price down. I do think it's in a bank's interest to do stuff, and I don't think that banks are stupid. They don't have to play by, you know, they're not going to play by, you know, by some like moral ethic code when their whole livelihood is at stake. So I do think there's a lot of time jabs of tweets, perhaps news, you know, like they're not stupid, you know, they have PR agencies. So there's a lot of stuff like that. You know, they would rather see it not do well than do well. They do have to accumulate cheap. Often, we talked about this, I think, a few weeks ago, how it was documented that Chase Bank was accumulating Bitcoin in the 3,000s, in 2017. Well, we talked about it a few weeks ago when there was heavy buy in the mid 3000s. What was that, last week or 2 weeks ago?
It was 2 weeks ago.
Everybody was saying Bitcoin 1200, Bitcoin blah. And what did we say, Luna?
And you said it was going to go back up. You were feeling really confident about it. You said, no way it's going to go to 1,200.
Yeah, so the 50-month moving average is no bitch. You know what I mean? It's no pump. And to say this, things just go up in record oversold territory, just go out and trample through it that's just silly. So, Opti Token did well on that. Like we did well on that. People who didn't buy into that did well on that. I hope Jackson Palmer got wrecked because what was he calling everybody charlatans who were buying around there?
Yeah.
I don't even really know what that means, but it sounds like a dick word to use. So, So, and here we are at 4,200 or so.
Yeah, it's going up pretty aggressively. So, do you think we're starting to see a bull run, or could it go back down?
Great. Yeah. So that's a great question that fits right into to what we're talking about. I definitely do not think a bull run is here. That's for sure. I can tell you a few different things on why. What we're seeing is just kind of like a correction. I would imagine we were in record oversold territories, and Bitcoin was due for a correction. Some could call it a dead cat bounce, but I don't want to use that term because I don't think that fits well. But the way the market's reacting could be seen as similar, because dead cat bounce I think should only be used with something that's dead. And if you're a big fan of Bitcoin and know where it's going and understand its utility, then you wouldn't want to refer to it as that. So I just think it's a correction. Let's look at some RSIs and some charts and stuff.
Yeah, while you do that, hold on. Yeah. You're going to share your screen, right?
Yeah, sure I will.
Awesome.
Let me get a few charts out that will be relevant. You had touched on that Blockstream satellite stuff.
It's probably helping the price go up, I would say. There's been a lot of positive news.
Sure ain't hurting that much. I think a lot with prices are just kind of baked in the cake already. You know what I mean? And I think that news and stuff can only really maybe accelerate it or de-accelerate it, if that makes any sense. To a certain extent, So, anyways, all right, let's look at some charts. We'll get the Bitcoin day out. I think we're going to use. You only use Bitfinex or Bitstamp because Bitfinex is usually what I use to track, and although they do have a premium to their price compared to the average amongst the most other popular exchanges like Coinbase or Bitstamp, Bittrex, but I don't know. I still use that. I like that. It's wow, okay, cool. They have a freaking premium. They are bullish on crypto and they're supportive of crypto.
Yeah.
Why anybody is ever blasted,
Well, because they have agendas. I agree with you.
Yeah, and that agenda, it was a good one, right? You know what I mean? It made a lot of people rich last year. If they were involved with assisting the price up, why is this Bitfinex? What do they mean Bitfinex? Does Bitfinex mean got me rich? Made me rich? You know what I mean? Because if it does, then yeah, we were Bitfinexed. But if it somehow means screwed, I fail to see how that is in any way, relevant or true. If anything, we should be saying got Bitmexed, because what I see is Arthur Hayes doing the opposite, and I call it as I see it. Right? I know you do too, Luna. So let's look at some charts, though. All right, so I'm going to I'll open a day and a week. What's this one? That's an hour. we don't need that. Alright, I'll open the screen now.
I love how there's background music. We can dance while we wait.
I hope it's not too loud and obnoxious.
No, it's totally fine. See, Sean's a digital nomad, so he just ended up going to a cafe for this call. Oh, we just lost him again. Gotta love Skype. We were doing so well. I think he's reconnecting. Yay. Sean, are you back? Sorry about that, guys. He was going to share a screen. Oh. Reconnecting. I lost him. All right, guys, I'm just going to call him back so we can start going through the charts. I love the Skype song. It's fun.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi.
Wait, hold on.
Long time no chat.
Yeah, there you are. All right, let's go through the charts.
All right, let's do it. Share computer sound. Okay, whatever. All right. Are we there?
No, I don't see. Oh, yes. Oh.
You see it now?
Yeah, hold on. Let me just do this. Okay, cool. All set.
Okay, cool. All set.
So here's the day. We'll break down the chart a bit. RSI is... There's... what's funny about this 55 level is a long while back. RSI is quite interesting. It can kind of interact like or kind of behave like its own little chart in ways as far as having resistance levels and support levels, trends, stuff like that. So a while back, and I was thinking about making a little bit of an algorithm based on it. The problem is, it's almost easier just to use alerts with the RSI because the conditions don't come often enough to where it's kind of necessary to automate it. You know what I'm saying? You can kind of just use the whole human interaction with it to assist in a trade. 55 and 40, both very interesting levels. Looks like 40 has been less. Also, the relevancy tends to come and go on them, so I never made it into anything, but it was very tempting. So, 55 looks like it may be a little bit relevant again. We'll see. Gotta keep an eye on that. But that being said, I would say a decent cross above it should bring us into continue into hopefully into the 70s level. I could see that happening, which would be the oversold territory.
Crazy how much it dipped mid-November. That must have been the whole Roger Ver thing. No way.
The what?
The whole Roger Ver and Bitcoin Cash.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that last week or two ago. I don't know. I think there was a lot of people supporting the price, and they kind of just ran out of steam to support it. At the end of the day, whether that was the miners, I see Roger Ver as I don't really see him. I just see him doing it I have no beef with someone really trying to prop up their own project. Not at all. It's really shady when they try to shit on another cool project, I think, right. And I haven't really seen him do that much. I mean, yeah, he says Bitcoin Cash better than Bitcoin, but I don't really that guy doesn't really bother me. I don't really. I mean, I'm not saying he's a cool person or not. I'm just saying I don't really know anything about him. I don't know if he's I don't really think they set out to hurt Bitcoin or the price. If that was if that had something to do with the big price drop, it's still hard to say also. So, but yeah, so here are the RSIs, we can look right here and see when it went really deep and low. So 30 is oversold, and if you're below 30, you're oversold. And typically, it doesn't stay there long when you have, unless something's just dying. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty scary when it dips pretty far below, and usually what happens is a trend develops, and if you dip too far low into oversold or overbought, it'll stay there for a while. and if something's, like, take for example a company that goes into bankruptcy, it ain't coming back. You know what I mean? But that's obviously not what we're dealing with here. So, but once you get down, it kind of like you can't really use it as a. You kind of have to say like, okay, RSI is kind of like fried for now, or you have to go to a bigger scale and look at it there, like the week or the month or something, and kind of see if that maybe has some relevance at that point. Which the month and week both kind of became very interesting as they approached their all-time lows, and actually surpassed them too. So, but momentarily, the month may not close there. So here we are on the day. The volume looks good. It's not, it could be better, but it's definitely not bad. You see where I'm pointing at?
Yeah.
This is like, okay, actually, let me go over here. This is weak volume over here. You see these little candles over here?
Yeah.
That's just all weak, man. And typically, we can't really get, what I can take from that is like, nothing, that's probably from a sideways market, right?
But what does that mean when it's weak volume?
It means there's no strong conviction of the price. Like, if it's weak on both sides, there's no really strong conviction of, going one way or the other. Looks like we had a little scare here on the volume, and let's see what that was from. That was probably from that the tether fiasco, and it was. Which was, I wish I would have exited some more trades there. Here's the thing. I think that this usually is very bullish, like a big bar like this and a big move like that. But the thing is, I think because it was manufactured, in that everybody was scared that Tether was going to just, be destroyed and go to zero, and Tether, all the Tether scam talk and stuff like that. So when everybody rushed into Bitcoin and drove it up, it was artificial and not really fundamental, So that being said, it didn't sustain. It didn't cause anything lasting. So that's why that didn't become a bullish thing. Here we have a very bullish green volume candle, and this one looks like it reversed the trend more or less. We did continue down after that some, but it kind of like it was in a way a stick in the sand, saying like, hey, like the bulls are coming in right now. So also if we look over here, we see this giant red candle. Well, that's the biggest. It's a huge difference in this candle and the one before it. And what do you know? It coincides with that huge price drop and the beginning of the really, really awful crash. I guess you could, that ensued after. The next one that was even bigger did not help matters. So as you can see, oddly enough, it's kind of as simple as like looking at them as, kind of, it can either confirm or deny, like, the start of a movement. Like, right here you see, it doesn't have to be, but basically, volume can tell you, like, if something's legitimate or not. If a move is like, because it could be, if this move happens on lower volume, like a candle like this, it could just be like some whale like dumping, and he may not like, who knows what he's selling. It may not be like fundamental, or it may not be much behind it. So maybe the guy needs cash, and no one else wants to sell right here. So,
but it's really interesting that there's so much volume in mid-November and December compared to September and October.
Well, yeah, that's people were. What I would have to say that's attributed to is people were just kind of like, it was sideways for so long. They're probably just like, that was actually, like, in hindsight, it was a beautiful place to like be trading at, because you're sideways. You could just enter and exit. Opti token did get to do some stuff with that, but actually we were pretty cautious and probably didn't get into it till around, I don't know, it was a while into it, because we wanted to see confirmation of a move back upwards toward like 8,000 to 10,000, that didn't really come. So eventually we started to play a sideways market. That's okay. And that's what a lot of traders, I'm sure, did as well. Let's see here. Anyways, with volume. So another thing we look for with volume is the low. Is it a new low? Like, okay, so if we have a move on high volume, where does that end? Is it a new low? Is it above a previous low? Things like that are also information we're looking at. As we continue down here in this little downtrend, and we started to make new lows, this was super bearish right here. And this was a very bearish day. So now we're going to look like it's over here. So as we continue on, we see this low. Okay, volume's declining a little bit. That's good. The next day was a very bullish candle. Kind of looks like it would be a reversal, and it was a slight like relief little situation. It wasn't a ton, but you know, this gave us information. So if you saw this candle here, you know, you could potentially try to time a buy there. You know, if that was the right move or not, yeah, it's kind of hard to say, but it wouldn't be I wouldn't call it an awful play. In fact, I probably was open, you know, I was probably like opening stuff with, like if you opened here, like midday here, I would not be mad at that, you know, like right around back crossing over 4,000.
So like 4,000?
With a stop loss under the lowest low from the day before. That's like a decent trade, actually, you know. And if using, you know, if you could use volume analysis to find something like that. So now in the recovery, we're also looking for volume. We want to see here is we want to see a green candle that more mimics something like this. We want to see a bullish green candle. And it wasn't awful, but it was lower than here. And so, you know,
what day was that? Let me see.
I guess it was November 18th.
Yeah.
And then we're also looking at the next day, and especially because also if you're using sequential system at all, which I really like and it's cool. It's a newer tool I've been using for about 5 or 6 months now.
What is it called?
Sequentials. It's getting pretty popular, and it's great. It's a great tool to use with your others. And here, okay, we have this trend line, which is like acting like resistance, and that's not good. We want to go above that and close above that. Here, the next day, what we're looking for is a close above the one before it, and above this trend line. Well, a few things happen here that's bad. It's pretty much a doji, and it's right under this little trend line. That ain't good. So, especially in lower volume, this is like an exit the trade signal majorly. Like you should be watching. So, like the charts close, and we're on the day chart. If you're in the Eastern time zone, you know, then the charts close. I believe it's just you use UTC, okay. But what does that translate to right now in the East Coast? 7:00 p.m. So, you like this is a thing where it's like you want to be watching the charts at 7:00 p.m. because if it closed above, even just a little bit higher, it could have confirmed a recovery and would have been a good entry point. But since it didn't, it was, you know, it's actually confirmed to sell. Like you could sell here, like that close. What you could do is you could sell here and then set a stop loss maybe above its high or so. You know, like if you want to be safe, or even just really like a little bit above that trend line. And so that's what happened. So. Here it brings us to this little fiasco and mess. Now, I don't know if we talked about this or not, but you see that declining volume, that was important here in these levels. We're reaching what's happening with we have these nines coming and stuff like that. Basically what that's saying is the trend's exhausting, okay?
So since the trend is exhausting now, we can only go back up.
Well, I wouldn't want to say we can only go back up, but that's like we're looking for like what's likely to happen. So here was beautiful. I guess that was
17th, so 3 days ago.
It doesn't feel that long ago. It feels like we had that big pop like just yesterday or something. I guess it was already that long. So this is an excellent candle and a good close. We didn't quite break this 20-day moving average, but that's okay. The 20-day moving average is pretty frail.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't want to like, offend like the TA gods, but like it's it's pretty like flimsy. Like it's helpful, but it's like whatever. Not closing under it shouldn't really scare you. Closing above this trend line on decent volume is really not usable, but closing above that trend line is pretty bullish. So actually, what we're looking for here is like we're looking for the next day, and the next day is exactly what we want. We have a nice 2 close above. It also closed above that MA, and this is bullish confirmation right here. Like you should be if you're a trader, you should open up along here, 100%. On that close at even at 37.80. And another thing is that there was a level that was pretty relevant too, which was around 37.50. We did open a trade. I know we opened a trade here above because it closed above 37.50, which actually mean they were looking for. This was a great opportunity to open a trade, and look where we are now.
So okay, somebody who is looking to like go back in, like perhaps they didn't take the opportunity a few weeks ago. Like, do you think that this is like as of today? Like, is it still a good time to get in, or should you wait? Like based on what you're looking at.
Okay, so yeah, I'm sorry. Let me speed this along. So here, there's still like we should. Like everything looks okay still. Even volume's picking up, which is very good. We are approaching a more stingy, I guess I could say, moving average. The 50-day tends to be pretty stingy going both ways. So as acting as support and resistance. A lot of people might believe that the moving average needs to be touched or will be touched, but as you can see, that's just not true. It's not like just because we change directions doesn't mean we're going to go touch it. Okay, and I think moving averages acting as resistance or support have a bigger margin of error than a lot of other support indicators. And I think that's because at the end of the day, it's an average. It's not an exact price; it's an average of like where the price likes to go. What is a basically average of what people think is overbought or oversold. And where they're buying it, or selling it. So, yeah. I mean, so just because we're headed there doesn't mean we're going to make it there. I would not be surprised if we did, but using this chart alone, I shouldn't make a decision on the trade because this could also just be a correction to all this down mess. It's very common that it's a 4-candle correction after you have 9 to 13 candles down like this. So what we need to do is need to look for more information. We need to go to different charts. So keep in look at 2 different R's. Here we have 12-hour. 12-hour is a little tired. It's been on a pretty decent correction. It's above this. Here's that 37.50 number I was talking about. That's what I was looking at.
That was when 37.
I talked about. That's why I wanted to see it close above that. It did. And that was where that came from. It was the 50-unit moving average for the 12-hour. So, anyways, this next candle is pretty interesting because we should either see what we want to see is that we want to see the 9 is not the end of the effort. We want to see it like being like, hey, like no, I still got more steam in me. And so we'd like to see this close above the high of yesterday. Like we want, we don't only want it to be a frill candle. We want it to kind of be like a bullish candle. If that happens, like we could just, what's really interesting here is the shorts and the leverage shorts and longs right now. And let me look at that. So there is currently 35,772 Bitcoin leveraged worth of Bitcoin in leveraged orders short right now. There's only 25,345 long. The number that's relevant to me in that equation is the shorts. Okay, these shorts have been open since like the 3000s. That was like I'm not sure what the entry point is, but they were open around the lower 3000s. Okay, so what's interesting to us is where are they liquidated at? Okay, because if these get squeezed out, if we hover a little bit too high and like a trigger basically goes off, like basically where a large majority that's big enough to be relevant to price are liquidated and closed, forced closed. Those are all closed with market buy orders, and the price can rocket up. So, like, don't be surprised if all of a sudden, like, when you wake up in the morning and the price is like 5,200 or something, or like 4,700, because that can happen. What's weird is why that hasn't happened yet. Even like a significant amount, I'm not sure why. It's almost like, I wish I could blame it on BitMEX, like saying they're biased to short squeezes, like they favor a long squeeze over a short squeeze or something. But I can't, I have no information to confirm or deny that. But when and if that happens will be very interesting. It could push us all the way up here toward this trend line. I'm sorry, that's way too high. And it could push us up to
like 5.
The 128 unit moving average. What else could it do?
And that would be how quickly?
Well, it happened really fast. I think we have some more support. I know around 4,700 we still have relevant levels. Here we go. 47.45 is relevant. That's the 50-day moving average. I guess we'll just talk about that. I think now earlier too, that price in the move down, I think that price was semi-relevant. Oh no, maybe I'm wrong. It's not relevant at one point. Okay, maybe I just thought it was going to stop there, and it didn't. Let's see if we hit it all yet. Yeah, maybe just a touch. Kind of by it for a few days, but...
So 4,700, you're thinking? Next,
4,750, 4,700, give or
but
take.
in the next, 48 hours or 24 hours?
I have no idea. I'm going to err on the side of saying that these shorts just don't get liquidated, for whatever reason or not. And maybe people start to exit them slowly. I can tell you one thing though: if we keep on going up, people don't start, slowly closing and reducing their positions, they will get liquidated sooner or later. And that would be excellent. I hope they get liquidated. That's good for us.
But what do you mean liquidated? Like they wouldn't have the ability to cash out?
Yeah. So
there wouldn't be enough volume available, essentially.
So basically what happens is...
I love how you're talking low, like this is some conspiracy. Tell me more, Sean.
Yeah, well, if I'm using leverage trading, what I'm doing is I'm basically borrowing Bitcoin from someone else.
Got it.
And using their Bitcoin to, to play with, or whatever, to trade with, and whether I'm going to buy it or sell it is, I can borrow basically USD and buy Bitcoin, or I can borrow Bitcoin and sell it. But I have to return that at some point, and I need to have what's called a maintenance amount of money in my account to support this, this lending and this loan. And so by doing so, if I say, hey, I have $5,000, but I really want to play with 10 Bitcoin, okay? Well, on Bitfinex, I believe it's $3.5 margin level. I'm 100% sure. So I say, hey, I want to play with 17,500 worth of Bitcoin. So I can do that, but if I start to come into like unrealized losses nearing $5,000, which is all the money I actually have, then Bitfinex is going to say, hey, dude, you're about to get like, completely wrecked. You're about to be like completely out of your collateral, So what they do is they will liquidate your position, like I believe a little bit before that, for whatever level they require you to maintain. So what I mean by this is, so when we have all these short positions, these leveraged short positions open at 35,000 Bitcoin, these people we can safely assume have far less in collateral. So jointly, maybe this is like 10,000 Bitcoin, okay? 10,000, whatever the U.S. dollar equivalent would be of that, or whatever they use equity in the collateral. So, or as whatever they're using as their collateral. So, in the loan. So, if we approach, we don't know what their entry level is, but if we approach, maybe like, let's say the price goes up to 40, let's say it passes like 43.50, okay? And a new trend emerges and all of a sudden people are buying again, okay? And we go up to like 4,500, well, that might be a level that's like, maybe 44.99 was like the average level of where Bitfinex needs to start liquidating its positions. So if like too many start going at once, it'll, the price it's basically like getting a pump. And what happens is then other people's positions start getting liquidated because now the price is 4,600 because some guy with, 2,000 Bitcoin just got liquidated, some whale, and jumped the price, and now everybody starts getting squeezed out. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's kind of confusing stuff. But at the end of the day, it's like, I don't think, there's no reason to overthink it. It's just kind of like, you know what I mean? It's like, you gotta, you only have, you can't borrow the Bitcoin forever, If you get too much in debt, they're going to say, hey, like, you can't support that. Sorry, dude, you need to close your position.
Yeah. So, essentially, like, kind of what we're looking at is the trend that we saw mid-November. You feel like that's kind of stretched and extended. And so, if anything, from what we're looking at, is we would probably be maintaining the $4,000 trend and possibly going up.
I don't. Okay, you want to?
You think it's going to go higher? Yeah.
I do think it can go higher. I don't know where though. Another thing that's been interesting is I've definitely noticed this, and other people I've talked with have noticed it as well, is that using TA to the upside and looking for targets on the upside has been far less accurate than on the downside. The downside has been beautiful. It's been, and for some reason the upside's been a little less so. And why I can really tell you. I mean, I could go over conspiracy theories on that as well, but let's.
But what do you mean by upside and downside? Sorry, I don't.
Sure. So, if I have, okay, look at this. We're on the week. That was pretty accurate. This is the 128. What is it? No, I'm sorry. That's a 200 week moving average.
Yeah.
Well, look, it went right to it. Touched the support.
Oh, that's your
crazy.
prediction. Okay.
Yeah, I was saying the 200 week or the 50-month moving average, and also them combined. It's like, dude, good luck rushing through that. That's what I was like. People are like, because those together, like bundled together, it's like, I don't know, like if they're basically the same thing more or less, but like they're also kind of like, it's like the more MAs you have sitting somewhere, it's just like the harder it is to break through them. The more support levels you have stacked up, support or resistance, the harder it is to break through. It is what it is. They hold better and they're tougher to break through. So, RSI is beautiful. It went to oversold and then played just as it should. So the weak RSI was completely relevant. I wouldn't be surprised if we went back to around this level. It looks like 42 is kind of trendy-ish area for kind of a support and resistance zone. maybe not. May or may not be. That being said, we are... See, time, I really like sequentials on time. Also, you can use things called Fibonacci time zones, which is pretty interesting, but I'm not going to get into that right now. It's pretty confusing. I'm kind of like split on whether they're... I'm not sure if I really like them or not. As far as, I don't know. That's a mixed bag. So, alright, let's go. So we had... Kind of hard to see which one it was. Aggressive. 9 or 1. I do know this. This lower number would like to see a 13. The higher one would like to see a 9. Both need about 4 weeks to get there.
It might take 4 weeks to get there. Okay.
And we might not get there. That's if we do. Because they're not always perfect. Look, this is 1 to a 3. So it's not always going to get a 9 and 4 and a 13. But they're very, they're very relevant. So, and they would both like to see that. To get there, we'd have to go under this moving average, which would be hard, as you've seen in the past. It's also can be very common that, like the 5 or 6, kind of become a sideways or recovery type candle. So what we could end up seeing is, I drew too. It's crazy. I drew this. I wanted to see if I could find that, but I drew a little, and it might have been on your show like last time. But I drew a little lines of where I thought the price would move, and it looks like it's kind of doing it exactly. It's crazy.
Which one are your lines? Are they
I don't know where it is. I must have trashed it because it was on the way on the charts. But so anyways, it wouldn't completely surprise me to see. Okay, we could see a few things happen here. Here we see that this candle has turned into a 1. So it is overcrossed 1, 2, 3. It's barely above this close. But at the end of the day, it's not closed yet. This candle is still live. It will be live until Sunday at 7 p.m. So what we'd really like to see is the price of Bitcoin close above the close this week. Of this week, I'm pointing out.
Which was 4,054.
No, 4,089.
Okay.
Because I'm not pointing. Look.
Oh, got it.
You see the C in the upper right corner?
Yeah.
Okay. That stands for two things. It stands for close or current.
Got it.
So, because the close essentially is the current on the, if it was closed right now on the current candle, it would be current. So, yeah. So you're looking at that C. So we would really like. So that's what. And what's cool is using TradingView, you can do stuff like make alerts. Or you can use what I do very common is I set alerts for my phone, reminders, and I time them for like 15 minutes before a certain time.
Yeah, so that's a really good point, because you don't want to be sitting in front of your computer all day. So that's good to have alerts.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Exactly.
Something goes like below something, like, yeah.
So if you want to do a fun experiment, just so you know, set in your reminders in your phone for this Sunday.
This Sunday, I'm
Let's
gonna write it down.
6:45 p.m. You want to check if the price is greater than or less than. It's probably not going to be exactly equal, but it might be. Then 4,089.
4,089.
But
Alright, everybody. Sunday at 6:45 p.m. We'll check whether or not Bitcoin is at 4,089.
So what happens is, if it's not, this green 1 turns into a red 6.
Got it.
And that's not really good. Probably means that it's what's predictive of more is that we might actually get a 7, 8, 9, and that 10, 11, 12, 13. So we get full confidence in a second. So, all right, let's see here. So,
wait, can we?
Yeah.
Can we see you back on the screen so we can have a little conclusion of the show?
Yeah, and so if you want to, I know we're going on forever.
Yeah.
That doesn't.
Wait, hold on. Oh, where are you at? I lost you, Sean. Reconnecting. Let me see. Let me try to call him.
Can you see me now?
Yeah. No, I don't see you. Where are you?
No? Maybe I'm still sharing my screen.
Oh, no, I see you. Perfect.
Yeah. So, next week we can talk more about time frame. That'd be good.
Yeah, let's do that. Awesome.
What's going on? Real quickly, what's going on with that crypto hustle? Where are you? Are you going to any conferences soon, or what's going on?
That crypto hustle. Yeah, I gave a bunch of shirt out to a conference that's going on in Vegas. A friend of mine, she's doing it in a few weeks. She's going to do a giveaway, so I'm excited. No, I might go to the Bitcoin conference in January. That should be exciting.
Do you know the date on that?
I have to look. Hold on.
Yeah,
Bitcoin conference, Miami 2019. I know it's in January. North America Bitcoin conference, January 16th to the 18th.
Okay.
You have to come through. You guys.
I wish it was earlier in the month because I could actually go if it was earlier. But I'm not sure. Maybe I don't know. We don't know. We'll see what's up.
Yeah, we'll see what's up. But all right, so let's sign off, guys. Thank you for watching. Make sure to comment if you have any question. We're going to be doing this on a regular basis starting the new year. We're going to go live on YouTube. We also have a Facebook group as well. If you want to ask any questions, I'll make sure to hit up Sean. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks, Sean, for joining us.
Thank you, Luna.
Yay.
Take it easy.